Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today we are looking at Age of Kill Team, or Warcry if that's what you really want to call it. So, there's a little video at the top here. I highly recommend you all go and check it out, but allow me to summarize it for you. I'm going to paint you a picture. It's three guys jerking each other off for a minute and a half. They don't tell you anything in there. I'm sure that we're going to be seeing these three guys come back in future videos. This is my assumption over the next 2 weeks as we get more and more details. But this one, they say nothing of any interest. But you know, check it out. Give Games Workshop those hits because that's how they know that things are going well. Let's get into it. I'm going to read. I'm going to look at pictures and I'm going to give my critical thoughts. You'll be able to battle out of the box with two Warcry warbands, the Untamed Beasts and the Island. I can't speak though. What a great narrator. And the Iron Golem, and a host of chaotic beasts supplied in plastic. Each of these offers their own opportunities for modelers, painters, and gamers alike. Here's how they look on the sprue. Ooh, sprues. Okay, how are we thinking? I like the sprue. Just from a very initial look, it does appear to me as though each model is going to have different options. I haven't actually counted everything up, but it looks like we will have options. That's like one of the key things that was needed, options, because I was so scared that they were going to say, oh, hey, you can go and create your own unique warbands, and it's so customizable, and they're your guys, much like in Kill Team. But then they were going to sell us sprues that had a single fixed pose, and I was going to be like, oh, so close, GW, so close. Okay, cool. And we see these guys as well. Yeah, beasts, cool. And we see this. It's more of a sprue. Lovely. Excellent. And here's them painted. We have seen these before, so we're just going to skip through. Red and gold, very Khorne to me. They probably do worship Khorne now that I think about it, but I'd like to see them. I think they would look better in a different colour scheme. That's all. Because although I really like red and gold, I think red, gold, and flesh less interesting. These guys, oh look, a bunch of natural browns, oh, that's great for my colour blindness. Lovely. But just where you meant to battle, don't worry, we've got you covered there too. The terrain. The box set contains loads and loads, that is a technical counting measurement by the way, of brand new scenery, bringing one of the ruined cityscapes of the Bloodwind Spoil to your tabletop, depicting the remains of one of the great cities of Order, built in the 8 points in the Age of Myth. This modular terrain set can be configured in all sorts of patterns to build awesome battlefields. It's even got stairs designed for your miniatures to slot into. Oh, that's cool. The miniatures will slot into the stairs. Ooh, that's quite fun. I approve. I like a good stair slotting. Who doesn't? So I would say that the walls of these look rather similar to the current existing Azerite ruins, as in they're just kind of a bit plain, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. I never really liked how the Azerite ruins looked, but like in pictures, but I've recently seen them in person, and they look fine. They do their job. And when you finally see this for what it is, I think that's a nice load of terrain, if I'm honest. And of course, when you see it on the battlefield, have they actually not given us? They haven't given us the battlefield, but it looks like more than enough terrain to get everybody going. Yeah. A double-sided gaming board, meanwhile, gives you a great-looking playing area wherever you are. Meanwhile, setting up the games is simple thanks to the battle plan cards. Here we go. So we've got a kind of darker, magic-y kind of thing, and then we've got a bit of a barren wasteland. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Cool, cool, cool. Yes. No issues. I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess that these game boards are exactly 22 by 30. Cool artwork, I will say, cool artwork. In Warcry, games are super varied. Super varied? They've actually... I wonder why they connected that word. Anyway, thanks to the battle plan cards. An innovation designed to generate epic battles in moments. Simply draw one card from each of the 4 decks, and you'll have a thrilling game plan sorted, including terrain, objectives, deployment, and twists that offer new challenges for your games. With literally millions of possible outcomes, no 2 games need ever be alike. You'll find a set of battle plan cards and terrain cards for the ruined city terrain in your core set. So let's have a read. So up here we have the terrain layout. Now, I hope that the way they are going to tell you in the instructions to build this terrain will allow you to actually use this. You know, like put it in all different sorts of ways. You don't have to glue, like if you end up gluing a walkway, you're screwed, kind of thing. Because I know that in the way the Kill Team box told you to create your terrain, they would then show you pictures where you couldn't then set it up that way, I believe. A deployment. Now, we don't quite know what this means. We do, however, see that that is an 8-inch distance. So the first thing we have to... Yes, that's right, I pulled up a calculator. Don't question me, guys. So, if you're 8 inches from the center, logically, you will then also be presumably they've put you in the middle of that thing. So the board's going to be 32 inches? That's an odd choice. Anyway, there are things here that we don't yet understand. So, for example, here we have round 2, or RND2, I assume that means round. And we've got one with a stabby dagger and one with a hitty hammer. What could these mean? Is it possible that's where you deploy in the second round? Bring on reserves? Reserves are built into the core game? Don't know. Let's see. Twist, Bloodwind. Add 1 to the attack and strength characteristics of all fighters this battle with 1 or more damage points allocated to them. So, interesting. What? So obviously this is really fun. However, right, I instantly put my Kill Team competitive cap on and think, that's not just a scouting phase. That's game changing. And if you have a deck of 30 of these twists, and everyone's going to be different, there's no way to make the twist competitive. Maybe, if we do wish to do this competitively, not that I'm saying that's a thing, they might not have any match play missions, which would be an interesting choice from them. Then maybe the twist is a no-go. However, we don't know what any of the other twists are, so don't listen to me. And then the victory is part covered, but part of the combat phase of the first battle round. Starting player who has the initiative, each player picks a fighter warband to be blood marked. The fighter must be on the battlefield. Wins the battle as soon as their opponent's blood marked fighter is taken down. Okay, so that's cool. That's oh, I like it. Okay, so let's rein it in here, lads. Let's rein it in. If we look back to some of my recent community kill team rules, this is exactly what I've been saying would be really good fun to do for competitive kill team. You make your deployment, terrain, and objective all just drawn from a deck. Really interesting. So you have to build a roster that can handle any situation. Very cool. In this particular one, it seems to be you elect a leader, and then if that leader dies, it's an assassination mission effectively. That's cool. I like that. Now what we need are the rules, the core book. We've included the full and unabridged core book in every copy of Warcry. It'd be weird if you didn't. This dark tome is your guide to the world and game of Warcry. You can read more about it in yesterday's preview. Cool. Let's look at it. I'm just going to throw this out there. So I quite like the font of Warcry. I like the red background. Black's good too. I don't like the artwork here. This does nothing for me at all. What we do know about this core book, however, is that actually it's softback and it looks to be roughly the same thickness, maybe a tiny bit thinner than the Kill Team rulebook. That's all gleamed. from this video here, which you should check out despite it being a big circle jerk of people that are paid by GW. Now, this is your essential resource for playing the game itself, while rules for individual warbands can be found on your fighter cards. Fighter and ability cards. We're getting to the interesting bits now, guys. Getting to the interesting bits. Every warband in Warcry has rules on a set of nifty cards. They are nifty. I'll allow them that adjective. These take the form of an abilities card, which includes names for each type of a fighter on one side and special abilities on the other. So, what have we got? We've got fighter types for the Iron Golem, so that's cool. Now, these are, of course, all of the stock models in a picture format. It'll be interesting to see how strict Games Workshop decides to be with, oh, well, these are the fighter types. They have to look like the models, because then essentially there's no customization at all. We have a few things on the left here. So we have, that's their faction. These, presumably, are classes. Maybe. I'm guessing here. I've got no idea. These could be classes, and each one, maybe this here is the Drill Master icon. I don't know. And it allows you to do a thing there. I'm not going to read every single one out. As far as we know so far, it seems like there are no CP, which is a terrible mechanic, so I'd love it if they got rid of that. And people just have skills that you can use. Maybe there will be a limit on the skills, maybe there won't be, who knows. I like it. Fighter cards, meanwhile, let you track the rules for the warriors in your warband at a glance. For convenience, these use symbols known as rune marks instead of words. After a few games, you'll find knowing what these mean becomes second nature. We'll be looking at a few fighter cards throughout the week. This key shows what the different symbols mean. Oh, okay. So these are... Does it mean these? Oh, it tells us here 13 rune marks. So yes, this guy gets that, which is there. So he could, presumably, use that at some point during his turn. Cool. Now this is interesting. We get to see a fighter card. Ooh, good stuff. Okay. So first up, we have the image of a fighter. Now, going back very briefly to my, oh, but what if, do we have to use that specific model? How strict are they going to be? I'm sure that very quickly we are going to get a blank version of this card. Like, if they don't do that, where we can, print our own picture, blue tack it to there, they're really missing a trick. Anyway. 2 is the faction rune mark. That's up there. Yep, we already know that. That's easy. 3 is the move characteristic. Now, cool. This is of interest to us because, how big the board is, how far they can move really kind of dictates a lot about the game. 5-inch move. Interesting. Are they going to be one of the slower factions? I would assume so because they're armored. Maybe that's their weakness. They're slow. 4, toughness, which in this case is 4. I don't know what that means. Cool. 5 wounds. Now they have 15 wounds. Awesome. And the reason I say awesome for this is because 15 wounds. So obviously, looking at Kill Team, you've got 1, 2, or 3 wounds. Very few models have more than 3. Very few have more than 2, frankly. So seeing something with 15 wounds is like, ooh, okay, that's a bit weird. It's not at all. This is great. This means that you have so much more space to work with, okay? When you're trying to differentiate points costs between a 1 wound model and a 2 wound model with 1 attack or 2 attacks, it's like, well, okay. But now you could have anywhere from 50. We've seen a 20 as well in the last preview. There was a 20 wound model. So it's like, okay, they can have anything from potentially 1, maybe, all the way up to 20. Maybe it goes higher than that. That's a lot of design space to work with. And you can have a lot more variance between units, between warbands. Very cool. I like the high wound count thing, which of course is reinforced when we get to, okay, points values. 125 points. So again, we're working in a completely different point scale. We're not looking at, oh, this is 8 points. This is 9 points. I'm guessing we're going to be looking at 1,000 points. If a single model here, who seems to be a normal regular dude, is 125, I would guess we're looking in the 1,000 point mark. Then we have the fighter's first weapon. Now, this is a touch worrying because this contradicts what I said earlier where, oh, they have weapon options, because this is obviously a fixed stat on their card. They can't change that. And it doesn't matter what you put in their hand, that the model is almost irrelevant. What you have to look at is this card, as this card dictates what they can do. And you cannot change these. So that's a little bit concerning, I'm going to be honest. If you can't modify their weapons, then they are not your guys. They are the warband, not a warband, not your warband. They are the warband. Let's see. You know, let's he who is without sin cast the first stone. Range characteristic. We've got on the first weapon a 1, on the second weapon a 3. I'm guessing that's inches. That would be consistent with the whole you have to be within 1 inch for kill team, because that one is obviously a regular melee weapon. Then we have the attacks characteristics. Now, whether that's you roll 4 dice and you have to roll over their toughness with your strength, I don't know. Or whether it's 4 is the... I don't know. I don't know. We have not been told yet. But that does bring us to number 10, which is the strength characteristic, which is 4 on both. Now, we can look at the strength and the toughness. On this model, they're both 4. We don't know how that interacts yet. Is it a case of, with your attacks characteristic of 4, you have to take your strength characteristic and on 4 dice roll over their toughness? But then in that case, you literally can't roll under, so that doesn't make sense. I don't know. It'd be really interesting though. I assume. Oh, or is it? No, they wouldn't have done it that way, would they? So how? Okay, so in Age of Sigmar, which is of course is where this is based, when it comes to the wound roll, it will just be a flat statistic, that unit wounds on a roll of a 3+, of a 4+, of a 5+, whatever. And it doesn't matter who you're attacking, that unit always wounds on whatever is printed on its datasheet. But here, we have a strength of 4 and a toughness of 4. Are they going to revert us back to the strength toughness table of 40k? Very interesting. So a 4 against a 4, we all know from Kill Team, that means you're going to have to roll a 4 to wound. If that's what they've done, that's a very interesting choice. That's almost a step back when it comes to GW though. I'm not saying it's a negative. It's just they've moved away from where they were pushing Age of Sigmar. Although you could argue that when you're working on such a small scale, you don't want that flat statistic of you always wound on a 2. So okay, cool. Then we get 11, which is the damage characteristics, 2/4, 1/2. If we continue with my no doubt flawed mind map here, of you get 4 dice from the attacks, and your strength is 4 against their toughness 4, so you have to roll 4s on 4 dice. We don't know why there's a 1 and a 2. I'm gonna guess if you only get a single hit, you do the damage on the left. If you get more than 1 hit, you do the damage on the right. That's my official guess. So, it doesn't matter how many attacks you're getting. Even if you're getting 50 attacks, you could only ever possibly do 4 attacks. I don't know. Obviously, this game is already, the rules have already been written. I am just completely guessing because I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. And then 12 is the fighter's secondary weapon, but we know that. And 13 is rune marks, which we kind of already covered. That rune mark, as this bit of text here says, that you can go to this, and he would be able to quad. I don't know what quad means. I mean, quad means 4. But Whirlwind of Death. Allocate a number of damage points to all visible enemy fighters within 3 inches of this fighter equal to the value of this ability. So that 4, I assume 4 is the value of this ability. Last but not least, we've got The tokens. Token sheets. We can't get enough of them. Your Warcry set contains a token sheet to keep track of ongoing effects, objectives, and so on at a glance. Handy, and also satisfying to pop out before the first time you play. Okay, so this is different. This is the other side to yesterday's sheet. So up here on yesterday's one, all of these were X's. Now they seem to be time. What's the word, guys? Hourglasses. So presumably that is some sort of initiative system, but it's not an initiative system because otherwise we would have had an initiative statistic to work with on the fight card, which we don't have. So maybe it is just alternating actions and you can alternate who you wish. These, well, we don't know what any of those mean. We haven't seen any of these symbols mentioned elsewhere, but okay, that's fine. And we also don't know what these little small tokens mean. A 2, 4, 3, 5. Don't know. Don't know. We have no explanations to go with yet. Um, and here in the skulls we have 1s and 5s. They, on the flip side, we know they're 3s and 10s. I'm guessing that's just damage, so you can keep track of wounds. That's cool. That's good, because when you have, 15, 20 wounds, you're going to bloody well need to know what you're doing, and you can't just put a dice next to the model. Oh, these two up here are the same as these ones here. So the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Did any of these images correlate to to this? No, they don't. Okay, so we officially don't know what those mean. But that's interesting. Interesting. You know what? They could just be generic objective markers, actually. Like they have different artwork on them, but the flip side doesn't. The flip side is the same artwork on each one. Maybe the flip side, these sides are just cool artwork. Who knows? Or maybe potentially there are specific objectives that you should play with in each one, and when you go and you capture that objective, you get a special effect. Who knows? Anyway, this has been Warcry. Do expect for the next 2 weeks to be very, very heavily Warcry content filled because I'm really excited for it. Oh, hold up, guys, hold up, there's more. A big thanks to Eduardo from my Discord. He managed to find a price list. This is how much it costs in pounds. Warcry prices. Starter, £100. Rulebook, 25. Now, of course, the rulebook comes in the starter, so we're fine there. Cypher Lords, £30. That's good to know. So we can assume that's the price going forwards. Each new warband will be £30. I'm okay with it. That's fine. Yes, you're paying a premium over how much that number of models would cost if it was regular Age of Sigmar, but only by about a fiver, and you are then getting a lot of like tokens and cards, I assume. So that's cool. Battle plan cards, same as starter deck, £12. So you don't have to buy the battle plan cards if you get the starter, which is good. However, do note, lads, do note that this means you can buy the rulebook and the battle plan cards, don't have to get the starter, you're good to go. Which is obviously a good thing. If you already collect Age of Sigmar, why would you want, why would you want all that? You could just go out, get the rulebook, hopefully you're ready to go. Faction decks, £5. Now we saw the faction decks yesterday. They genuinely look like small booster packs of cards that you would buy for, let's say, Magic the Gathering, or of course Age of Sigmar Champions. They're a fiver. I'm okay with them being a fiver. To be honest, Games Workshop charging under a tenner for anything confuses me. Like, I'm just like, oh, wow, that's such a bargain. Because obviously I'm a, battered wife. So I can't complain. Let's have a quick look, actually. We can almost guess how many cards we're getting there. So let's say we're going to get one of these cards and one of these cards for each faction. And let's hypothetically say that each faction has at least 6 options. 6, 7, 8. So we might only be getting 8 cards in the faction deck, which is going to be huge. That's going to be... That feels sucky if you think, oh, I only get 8 cards for a fiver. But if you think that, oh, all I need to play the game is a rulebook and 8 cards for a fiver, so I'm all in for 30 quid. That's not terrible. The Guard of the Moor scenery set, £55. So we can assume that's going to give us more battle plan cards. And obviously the Guard of the Moor scenery set. And another battle mat thing to play on. Very much a similar kind of system that we had with Kill Team. Like literally identical. That's fine. Carry case £20. I'm going to say I've never really had an interest in these smaller carry cases, and especially with how spindly some of these sprues look. If we go up here, where are we looking? Yeah, I mean, well, there's no point looking at that. But look at this. Look at all of these. Those are going to catch on the foam. I think it's a bad idea. In my opinion, I think it's a bad idea. But they probably will sell out quickly, so buy them so you can resell them on eBay. No, don't do that. It's scummy. Okay, and ruler, £10. So £10 for a ruler is, yeah, that's fine. I'll buy it. I'm not happy about it, but I'll buy it. Cool. So, and that's it. That's it. Anyway, Age of Kill Team, Warcry. I'm really excited for it. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm going to be covering all of these little articles that they do. I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing how things turn out. Yeah. Anyway, if you care about Warcry, let me know. If you're only here for Kill Team and you think that what I'm doing here is some, akin to a war crime, let me know that as well. Either way, even if you do believe I'm committing a war crime here, obviously you should give the video a thumbs up. Because why not? Or don't, or thumbs down it. Oh, Christ, I don't care. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, tell me how shit I am. Whatever floats your boat. Because I'm still going to cover every single Warcry article they do. Anyway, glass half dead. Hope you had a great day and continue to have a great day. Goodbye.